and the magic machine tells me I'm live. Friday nights are always a little bit slow, and I got to tell you something, folks. I got to tell you something on the real. Um, so Sarah Rachel Adams did appear on the Basis Project again after having been gone for many, many years. You know, she had ixnayed on the scene. Before Max Spiers had passed away, she had left that whole scene. And they were broken up. They were not together. But for what and she, since leaving the Basis Project, she's gone through a complete 180 and rebranding. We say hello to Philip Blair, first in the live chat. Philip Blair, thank you for joining me tonight. We say hello to Jilly Beans, second in the live chat. Jilly Beans, thank you for sharing your energy. Gold medal onto thee, Philip Blair. Silver medal onto thee, Jilly Beans. Not rankings, silver and gold. Silver and gold. Both lovely medals, though not as lovely as the people. Tolkien Study, grabbing that bronze. Looking like a bronze medal themselves. Hey, Foxy's friends, welcome. Lisa Kane, Mark of Cain. Wash it off, the Mark of Cain. It's a blessing as far as I can see. She's not the ace of base. Meanwhile, ironically, if you don't talk about a nostalgia loop, back in the day, one of the original cancellations or potential cancellations that people may or may not remember, Ace of Base, the famous one of the kind of nostalgia loop lessons, here they come, the 10-year, 20, 25-year, 30-year nostalgia loops. When we think of Ace of Base and nostalgia loops, a Swedish, I believe they were Swedish, we'll look them up. Oh, here we go. Ace of Base. Because where am I going to go with this? We don't need to wait. We'll just talk as I talk. We're talking about a nostalgia loop to ABBA. Ace of Base were a Swedish pop group formed in 1990. 20 years prior to that is 1970. Their debut album is 1992, later reissued as The Sign. That was their big album. I Saw the Sign. But remember, 1992, the group has sold 50 million copies. This is from their Wikipedia page. The group has sold 50. The Wikipedia page is on the nostalgia loop with me. The group has sold 50 million copies of their first 4 studio albums, making them the third most successful Swedish group of all time. Behind, number 1 would be, let's not mention them. Number 2 is Roxette, a duo. The number 1 group is, now remember, Ace of Base is 2 boys, 2 girls. ABBA was 2 boys and 2 girls. My suggestion to you is Ace of Base really is ABBA. And if you go back to that sound, that Ace of Base album, really what it is that it's a reincarnation of the disco sound, of the early disco sound of ABBA. But there you go. But one of the things is this you need to remember is, let's see if they mention it in the Wikipedia page as I'm scrolling through real quick. I don't even know if they're going to mention it. There was a brief controversy. I don't know. I don't know if they'll even mention it. They don't. They don't. One of the members of the group Ace of Base, the controversy was that he was at one point, I think he was like, it was like a similar thing to, I believe, I'm not talking out of school. If I say something, it is. I remember it being covered by MTV News. It was that it came out that in his Swedish youth, he had run with what? Possibly had run with like a white power, skinhead group. They don't mention it in the Wikipedia page. Let me see if I can do an Ace of Base racist rumors. Let's see if we do that before we get to Ace of Base. We'll do that. Do Ace of Base. Ace of Base. Racist. That gets us. Ace of Base is Ulf speaks out about alleged past. It's from the articles from. Oh my God, nostalgia loop, folks! You can't make this up. What is the likelihood? Hold on, excuse me. Now I'm talking about an article that I remember. I remember seeing this on MTV News back when they were a hit in 1992. I go and I do a search, and I go blah 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 blah. Meanwhile, the joke is I don't even want to be here covering Sara Adams. I really don't. I really don't. I want to be done with this conspiracy theory nonsense. I want to be on my RPG channel talking about Numenera from 2013 on the nostalgia loops that I'm going crazy for. But check this out for synchronicity hits. The first article I find, Ace of Base Ulf Erkberg speaks out about alleged past Nazi ties. The article is from April 25th, 2013. Just 10 days shy, just 11 days shy, 11, my magic number, just 11 days shy of being exactly 10 years old. We're looking up a news story that's basically 30 years old, and we get a news article from 10 years old, exactly 10 years old. What the holy fudge? Come on. Come on. And because we're here and not the most famous location, we've got 10 people watching. If I was on CW Chanter, there'd be 35 people watching. But they're all going to say, oh, but I'm subscribed. What are you talking about? I'm totally subscribed. Oh, man, I subscribed on day one. F you. Meanwhile, I have to tell you guys, the things like, comment, and share on social media. The last article that I did, the last video that I covered with the Basis Project that I even did on the CW Chanter channel, it was about Miles Johnson of the Basis Project having a woman on who literally said multiple times that Hitler was a good guy, that Hitler wasn't an anti-Semite, that the real Hitler was kidnapped basically by the bad Nazis, and they were the ones that made up the stuff and all that. And I got to tell you something, folks. That was shared by 2 people on Twitter. And I know that Twitter's dying. I can tell that people have basically given up on that stuff. But, we got to carry it together. If I keep on having to, if I feel like a shill when I keep on going, like, comment, and subscribe, and keep on doing the stupid YouTube guy thing. I feel like a shill and like a money grubber when I keep on going, hey, you can donate to my PayPal. I'm not monetized over here, but if you give to the PayPal, or if you give to just join me on Patreon. But if I don't, then shit happens and nothing happens. So if you truly are alternatively minded, and if you truly are, give a damn, then you got to get involved. You know what I mean? And not by getting involved by knocking on my door, bothering me, but by saying it's like if you liked bands back in the day, dub a tape, send it to a friend, share the word, spread the word, let people know, you know what I mean? Get involved. Anyway, what do you have to say? Speaking exclusively with E! News, the musician addressed the public firestorm over his alleged past Nazi ties after a report surfaced Tuesday, so it came up again. I remember them covering it on TV. Tuesday, claiming that Has was a member, or that he was a member of a pro-Nazi band before he helped form the hit-making Swedish pop quartet that would eventually turn into hits like All That She Wants and The Sign. Although Ekberg admits that he is regretful about some of my thoughts from those days, which he calls nauseating, that's fine. He insists that the band in question commits suicide, did not write the controversial songs supposedly attributed to them, which popped up in a demo tape that's reportedly been making the rounds for some time now. That's awesome. Then we have the news. Brad Paisley talks accidentally racist duet with LL Cool J. Oh my gosh. I have seen this demo of 6 songs that began floating around in 1996, claiming that Commit Suicide had written those songs. I did have a synth band called Commit Suicide between 1984 and 1986, with two gentlemen called Jens Anderson and Jens Svensson. I don't know how to pronounce the two names. And two of the songs on this demo were written and performed by us, Ekberg tells E! News. The problem is that the other four songs are skinhead music with very racist lyrics. He explains those songs have absolutely nothing to do with commit suicide. We did not write or perform those songs that were attributed to us. They're just on the same tape. According to music site noisy.com, which reported on Ekberg's purported Nazi connection, one of those songs included lyrics which the site translated as "Men in white hoods march down the road. We enjoy ourselves when we're sawing off. Gamer words, heads, immigrant, we love you. Get in here, get in here, get in here. Nordic people, go to sleep now. Don't shoot anybody." Even more damning, the site also published a photograph allegedly of Ekberg doing the Nazi salute. Yeah, allegedly. Commit Suicide was a new wave music band creating and performing electronic music on synthesizers without any political touch or agenda. But remember, I told you that I remember seeing, I brought it up and I had no idea about this tape from 10 years ago. I was talking about it from back in the day. So if they were talking about you being a Nazi back in 1992 and then it came back up again in 2013, baby, honey. Per Noisy, only about 1,000 copies of the Commit Suicide album, which was reportedly titled Oof Was a Nazi, were produced. Purportedly, its song list included the tracks Don't Touch Our Country and White Power, Black Skull Slaughter. Oh, yeah. It was him. My past is my own, and I can only own up to, yeah, I don't know, maybe allegedly. And although he cops having had right-wing opinions as a teenager, Ekberg also says that those opinions were based on poor judgment. That's fine. I mean, look, you're better off I would just own it. I would just say if it was you, it was you. And it's also, and here's the other thing. It's also totally possible that someone took half of a demo tape, took it on, put another half of a demo tape, and knew that if they made 1,000 copies of it, they could be like, let's mess with the guy from Ace of Base. But then again, it's like, why come after the guy from Ace of Base in 2013? You know what I mean? But who knows? Anyway, bit of a tangent. Sorry about that. Yep. So back to it, and I've lost a viewer on Ace of Base. Anyway, what are you going to do? I don't want to overstay my welcome. Perchance that's too late. Perchance that ship has already sailed. You know, in the description below, I actually worked off of the description for the video that Miles Johnston had created for this video that this interview he has with Sarah Rachel Adams. It was self-serving, and I basically corrected it, I think. You know, he says that, you know, I changed, you know, Sarah Rachel Adams was Max's companion to she's billed as his companion. And, you know, also, you know, he makes this whole thing about, you know, Sarah's last appearance was at bases in 2016. And then Miles says Max was supposed to be there, but, you know, didn't make it there because of, you know, and then he also says that in the description, he says, this is her first appearance since Max was assassinated in Poland. Max wasn't assassinated in Poland. Okay? It's unfortunate that I guess it's The Guardian and BBC, you know, that they've become so tabloid that they had to turn, you know, what would have been an opportunity to explain how cuckoo and crazy the scene could be. They took the opportunity to create their own little piece of the woo. And, you know, it's there, folks. The autopsy's there. The guy if he didn't die primary to a drug overdose, he died secondary to drug addiction. Okay? He wasn't poisoned. He wasn't assassinated. He didn't know too much. If I use the terms addict and alcoholic, those are not terms of judgment. They're no more to me terms of judgment than the term diabetic or cancer survivor is a term of judgment. Being an addict does not make you a weak person. It doesn't make you a bad person, a person of low moral character. It just makes you what you are. And Miles Johnson is exploiting Max Spiers in death like he did in life. Listen, folks, I took my conspiracy type stuff on my main CW Chanter channel, and I made a decision to put it private. I'm going to take a lot of those videos and put them back, including the ones that I did when I covered Miles Johnson talking very candidly to Carrie Cassidy right after Max Spiers' death, where he talks candidly about telling Max Spiers that he couldn't book Max Spiers until Max Spiers came up with more original material. I'll go on the record. I watched him say it. I covered it. I made the notes. I saved the notes from the videos that I make. I don't comment on things that I haven't seen. I don't comment on things that people have just kind of told me. I watched Miles Johnston say, because Miles Johnston was born without a filter, and Miles Johnston doesn't have the intelligence to know and understand that as a person that's billing himself as a person that puts truth speakers on before people who are seeking the truth, that it is a bad PR move to be talking to Carrie Cassidy like you're having coffee behind the scenes, behind the stage, in the green room, saying, yeah, I told the kid, oh man, I'd love to have you on, but you're saying the same stuff over and over again. The people want something new. And this stuff, the people are saying you took it from someone else. I mean, I can't have you on if you're stealing people's jokes. Yeah, I'm not giving you the exact language. I'm giving you the exact stuff. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of notes, and there's nothing here that's going to be of any interest to anyone who's looking for the conspiracies. Anyone's, because it's just Sara Adams being the galactic metaphysical healing coach. And I'm going to try my best to be as fair and balanced, which is this. If people are talking about their religion, their spirituality, and faith, what is there to say? Right? I disagree with them, whatever. What is it to say that a person's chakra information comes from a white lady from Biscayne Bay and not from a wise Indian Vedic literature from 5,000 years ago? Right? I mean, it's just, skin tones, colors, and points in chronological history. I mean, it just is what it is. Do I think that Sara Adams is a wise person with wisdom and insight to share with people? No, I do not. I saw her back in the day when all this kerfuffle with Basis Project started with the super soldiers, and she was right there with Max Spiers and James Casbolt and the rest of the BS artists, and she was just reciting crap from the X-Files. Right on the 20-year nostalgia loop. They talk about it here. That first Super Soldier Conference was what, in 2013, 2014? Do the math. 2014 to 2004 is 10 years. 2004 to 1994 is 20 years. 20-year nostalgia loop. Big year for the X-Files, 1994, was it? Yeah, pretty big year. She was there. I remember watching her being interviewed by Miles Johnson by the pool, saying, I remember them putting the chicken wire over our faces and pouring the black goo on us. And I thought to myself, how could anyone believe that? That's that scene right out of the X-Files. Remember that Russian agent that's like Mulder's like grand nemesis, that Kowalski guy, whatever. They both got kidnapped in that Russian place, and they put the chicken wire over them and they expose them to the black goo to make them get into them. And the black goo itself right on the 20-year nostalgia loop with this Basis project. And just like the black goo on the 20-year nostalgia loop, just like gray aliens, lizard men, and the archons, it comes when it comes into fashion, and then when it comes out of fashion, it's gone. Remember the archons? Remember when David Icke just switched from the lizard men into the archons? And then what? Right? They canceled the X-Files after a while, didn't they? And it seems like that whole conspiracy thing is kind of winding up too, right? Almost like nostalgia loop for that little period of excitement back in the day, right? Late 90s, heading into the 2000s. What's going to happen at the millennium? Ooh, are the aliens going to come? Is Jesus going to come back? What is the Aztec calendar going to say? Oh, is it going to be 2000 or is it going to be 2012? Right? And here we are, right on the nostalgia loops. The 10-year nostalgia loop is 2012. Was just there. So here we go. People are already talking about it again, now trying to set it up for 2025. Something's going to be happening. But you see, comes in and out of fashion. And when the X-Files, when that whole slippage began, 1993, 1994 is like kind of when it started. It's not a big hit right away. 2013, people are good, but then 2012, almost like things come right together, a perfect storm sometimes. The nostalgia loop for the X-Files and 2012, whoa! And things start building, and then maybe Fukushima adds on to it, and all of a sudden Alfred Lambert Weber gets these huge hits, and Project Camelot explodes, and boom. But nothing lasts forever but the earth and sky. All we are is dust in the wind, dude. Right? X-Files lasts for how long? The Millennium Fever lasts for how long? 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 1920. The millennium comes. The millennium bug, man. Nothing happens. Natural things happen. COVID. But a 20-year nostalgia loop to, oh my God, almost like the 20-year nostalgia loop to 9/11. But whatever. But then a whole bunch of forever war and nothing. Makes a little bit of sense to me. Maybe it makes a little bit of sense to you. Here's Bobby Hale joining us from Sights Unseen. This year would be the next manifestation of Victor Toombs' 30-year cycle. Speaking of the X-Files, Victor Toombs' 30-year cycle. You have to help me out there. I'm cognizant of some things, but I don't want to get myself caught out there, Bobby. I don't want to bullshit. I don't want. Sometimes I'll go with someone in the live chat. I'll be like, hey, yeah, absolutely, and then I'll be like, I don't want to get caught out there, and then have you appear and be like, yeah, I made that name up, Victor Toombs. What the fuck are you talking about? I'll be like, oh. But anyway, here we go. But welcome to the chat. Anyway, and welcome to the show. And Jonaside. And Lee Scan. Everyone got Lee Scan. There we go. Mario Heat. Cry check. Absolutely. Here we go. This. Indeed, I believe if we take habitual drunkards as a class, their heads and their hearts will bear an advantageous comparison with those of any other class. Hey, I like that. Alex Krychak. There you go. Jonaside, go back to work. There you go. Gotta do what you gotta do, baby. Gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. So we find ourselves Sara Adams ostensibly coming back to talk about what? The description box says some things about Max Spiers, but Max Spiers had been washed basically out of her past. She hadn't mentioned about him. She hadn't talked about him. Really nothing about it. She had made cryptic allegation and pointed the fingers at people like Stuart Swerdlow, but really not much else had happened in regards to that. She had beef and problems with people, in the scene occasionally, but for the most part, we all know that she had basically rebranded herself as this cosmic healer and left the kind of conspiracy stuff behind. And it was all just basically positive white light. So it's going to be interesting to see her go back to the Basis Project. because one of these things is not like the other. One of these stories is not going to be able to prevail. So how is it going to work? It's one thing to go to go to a new town, change your name, change everything, and live a new life. It's another thing to come back to your hometown when you've decided to start living as a woman. You know, it's another thing to come back to a place where you've been previously known as something and say completely different things. And I can tell you folks, as a preview, that's exactly what happens here. Gone is the chicken wire over her head and being exposed to the black goo. Absolutely, that's gone. In fact, the illusions that are made to any sort of thing like that, she basically now, the tune has changed and aliens bring her to bases, but basically bring her there almost like a tourist. She's brought there to be shown stuff. So she's not it doesn't seem like she's experiencing these things at all anymore. She's just being brought there to be shown these things. But if that makes no sense, because even if there was a new understanding of what had happened, there'd have to be some sort of explanation of why there was this new happening, unless you're just bullshitting people. That's my allegation. He's like, look, there's ways to do these things. There's ways to do these things, and one of the classic ways is you just steamroll ahead, and you don't explain. Or when confronted with your lies, you just keep on going. Do you know what I mean? Here we go. Once at a party, occasionally back in the day, not me, of course, but back in the day, at the raves, people would buy illicit substances. Occasionally, you get bullshit stuff, right? One time I'll never forget. My friend will never forget. Goes up to the guy, right? You give it a little time. You take the stuff. 45 minutes, hour 15. Then finally make the call. 2 hours in, you're like, this is some bullshit. So you go right. Hey, don't feel nothing, man. Looks right. Yeah. Why the fuck do you think that is, man? He goes, I know exactly what it is. I go, yeah, what? Because I told you bullshit stuff. I was like, yeah, yeah. I'm like, I gotta respect. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah. I was like, no shit. He's like, yeah, no shit. I was like, well. And he knew it too. I was like, what would you like? Can start a fight with you in the middle of the rave? He goes against some gambling. I'm like, you're not gonna do that. I guess you're right. He goes, yeah, I'm right. He was. I wasn't. He did. I guess that was his fucking routine. So that's how that went down, right? But you know what I mean? Just like, yeah. You know what I mean? There are plenty other times when the guy would be like, I've dealt with that plenty of times. Oh, I don't know. Give it a little more time. Are you sure? Rub your back, you know what I mean? Be like, oh, you sure? Have some water. Get your drink. No. A little alcohol. Trip that in, get you going. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you bullshit stuff. Great. Sara Adams, no conceit. No, I sold you bullshit stuff. Straight up. This story is completely 100%, 180 degrees different than Super Soldier Before, AI Black Goo, Black Veil Brides. All of the previous bases appearances that had been wiped, my understanding was wiped, that are gone. This information is contrary, and at no point does Miles Johnston say, you're going to have to explain why this is now different. But why would the guy who has the audacity to say on YouTube broadcast to Carrie Cassidy, oh, Max, I tried to and I couldn't, but I told him, I said, you need new stuff. You're telling someone who's a purported experiencer and researcher that he has to get new stuff? What the lack of self-awareness. Thank God for the lack of self-awareness, because it indicates and it let us know exactly what the fuck is actually going on. For those who have the intelligence to know and understand and listen. But unfortunately, look, the bread and butter in this audience for this stuff is maybe not that great. But you know what? Here's the other thing. This whole thing, where I got excited about covering guys like Corey Good and David Wilcock and, Sara Adams and, Randy Kramer, who I covered back in 2005. I covered all these motherfuckers back in the day. I just set this stuff to private for no reason, whatever. Trying to move in a positive direction. Anyway. I guess the theory is that, by covering these people, we're going to be, protecting people from disinformation or whatever. But, we don't take into account how many other people are subscribed, watching, tuned in, listening with the exact same attitude of, we can't believe how ridiculous this is. This is the stupidest stuff we've ever heard, as we are. We take for granted that we're the only people tuned into Coast to Coast AM listening for shits and giggles, right? That we're the only people that, pick up the National Enquirer back in the day as a fucking joke, right? To laugh at with our friends. Can you believe that people actually believe this shit? Meanwhile, back at National Enquirer HQ, they're going, it's incredible. We got 15% actual legitimate rubes, right? And we've got 85% self-righteous, educated, thumb up their butt, holier than thou motherfuckers, buying our shit, thinking that they're the one in a million that's just tuning in to how the local yokels are stupid enough to believe in Bat Boy. We're in the money. We're in the money. You know what I mean? Run this analysis again. We went either way? Yeah. All right. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Prediction. Baby New Year will be a girl. All right. Let's do it. Predictions for 2023. Elvis is coming back. Elvis is going away. Marilyn Monroe was not murdered. Roll the dice. Let it go. We'll print 50% of the issues with this prediction, 50% of the issues with that prediction. You see where I'm going with that? They'll invent the thing in the future. They'll be able to save our issues and know what we said. They'll never come up with something like that. Oh, they will. Where am I going with this? Listen, let me just cover here's what she's looking like now. She's had so much. I'm not saying, Philip, spoiler alert. Sit down, Philip. Meanwhile, Philip Blair's out here with the Dalai Lama still on his avatar. Philip, you're going to have to change that, baby. You're going to have to change it at this point, I think. Come on. And meanwhile, I gotta tell the Dalai Lama people, listen, folks, if you needed a reason to hate the guy, I've been hating on the Dalai Lama since before it was fashionable. Okay? The guy started off as a Nazi sympathizer, okay? And he's ripening in to child predatory behavior, okay? Talking about not aging well. Whatever happened to Dr. Stuart Swerdlow is that the Russian thing got complicated with Putin. So he's going to think about maybe see what happens in 2025. We'll see what happens. Maybe that Israel will be the thing to say that he's from. Did you know that my father, it turns out, was one of the founding fathers of the state of Israel. He was, and he was part of the CIA crack commando team that was with George Washington when they invaded Poland with Hitler, who was, yes, Sandra Deroy is correct. Hitler was a very good man, a friend of the Jews. I should know, traveling through time with the chronovisor from the Montauk Project, I was there. We had the bagel and schmear. He was very good to us. I said, what? They say you said these things. And he says, no, the drugs me. Never would I do. I swear by the hair of my lippy lip, he says to me. I said, you have sense of humor, this guy, Hitler. My Christopher Walken is a little shaky, but when your Sturt Swerdlow and you all of a sudden shift into make your 2015, what was it, 2015 that he turned into Yakov Smirnoff, right? What a country. That was, then all of a sudden, if you're doing an impersonation, then I got you. Fuck it, I got you, right? Anyway, here we go. Empty space, empty spam, reincarnation, no evidence, heaven and hell, no evidence, the soul, no evidence, only decay. Well, empty spam, there's also life. Okay, there's decay, but there's also there's rebirth from that decay. There's new stuff coming. Listen, things we know, things we don't know. Anyway, Tolkien study. She literally starts by saying she had a dream where E.T. showed her this, that, and this. Yeah, we'll get there. But we'll also say this before I even show you the new Sarah Adams. Look, I'm not saying like Teal Swan, Sarah Adams, this move towards the spirituality, sexy bitch. It's spirituality, but it's sexy bitch. What? It could be sexy bitch. Just because I'm spiritual doesn't mean I'm not sexy, bitch. I'm spiritual, but I'm a sexy bitch. Yeah, I'm spiritual, but I'm a sexy bitch. Like, I'm like, fine. It's like, there's nothing about spirituality that inherently means that you can't be physically attractive or gussy up your physical attractiveness. But like, why for like thousands and thousands of years have almost universally spiritual people said, you know, superficial people are into gussing themselves up and looking attractive. And as spiritual people, we are going to kind of universally take that shit off and be like, you'll know us by the fact that we're the nuns and we're the monks and we're the priests. And kind of how you know us, that we're those guys and not the other people, is that we're kind of dressed like we've made a choice to not be gussied up, dressed up, fancy, whatever. Like with even the Roman Catholic priests, they're all wearing the fucking uniforms. Even when the uniforms are fancy, it's one universal thing. And the uniforms are not showing off a lot of stuff, right? It's not skin to win with the nuns, but you know what I mean? There's no one that's ever been like, you know what I mean? Even like other people would be like, what about the festival? I mean, even that stuff, what they were, whatever. Hey, and who am I? It's just opinions. Having said that, here's the other thing. If you go and you invest in attractiveness, you know what that does to people who are not attractive? It doesn't make them feel so good. So if you're out there and you're like, I'm out here to heal the world and make people feel good or whatever, look, here's the deal, man. Here's the other thing I'm going to say. It is what it is. I'll show you enough to let you show. Here's the deal. I'm not trying to mock or make fun. Look, it is what it is. But here's the other thing. This girl has had so much work done. It's not even funny. There's spiritual and there's putting makeup on. And then there's taking thousands of dollars that could have gone to repairing hair lips in India, right? And instead, if you get reconstructive surgery post, breast cancer, it's one thing.
Because there's a lot to talk about, so I'm trying to figure out what I should talk about first.
It's been almost 7 years since Max's death. It's now April 2023.
What do you feel?
Refresh
Should
in
we
the
go
chat.
over?
Did you, what?
I think we've had 10 years.
This is what is this? It's like an OnlyFans. Like, come on.
Just sort of, you don't even want to think about.
Who's got the money?
Most people know about that. Just recap on
yeah,
that.
I mean, we can start from there.
I am recording.
Okay.
Like, work done. Work done. And, like, no offense. Like, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's like, that is whatever. You know what I mean? But work done. Aftermarket add-ons to beat the band. It is what it is, honey. It is what it is. And not, you know what I mean? It is what it is. And the investiture in this, and this $1 million hotel room, and it is what it is. And I'm not trying to rough it up. It just is what it is. Let's find it. Let's find a nice frame for our honey. No. Oh, what do you want? Praying hands. I'm gonna do that. I'm not trying to get in with the finish. We're gonna try and make her look bad. Try to frame her well. Try to frame you well. It's not my fault. Everyone looks terrible when they blink. I'll get there. We'll get there. Nope. There you go. That's fine. Here we go. Trust me. We say a little pride magic. Well, then you'll be stoked. The big essay concerning your chrono magic is on the way without silly ufology goof juice. All right. I'm glad to hear that. I know. I'm going to be going to my inbox. No worries. They're running a new program. Here we go. Yeah, everyone's coming back. You know, David Wilcock came back too. And David Wilcock, his video is great. I'll have to cover his video too. His video is basically a confessional. And talk about another guy whose story has rapidly changed, and who's laying out way too much information. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. There we go. We say hello to Jordan too. Jordan, how you doing, baby? Philip Blair. That news was over 40 days and 40 nights after it was here on the YouTube channel. The whole Noah's flood. The Chinese communists aren't as quick as they once were, attacking His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Conspiracies abound. Look, here we go. The nuns and the priests prefer the bondage stuff. What's it called? Age play. No, sorry. Hot psychic chicks. The best term for it I've heard is from Lauren Pritchard, who calls them crystal tit witches. That was great. That's a good one. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Mark. No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, flagellation, self-flagellation. Self-flagellation, if you can't find a partner, look, you know what I mean? You can work in teams, but you got to face, it's difficult because you can't be facing it's not your opponent, your brothers in Christ, because you don't want to get, cross the streams because you can't be thinking fornication. Listen, folks, we're trying to get pure, okay? Trying to get right with the Lord. Sarah Rachel Adams on the Basis Project. Listen, if I had an exit goal for that joke, I would be a better comedian. Start at the Super Soldier Conference. Start talking nonsense. This is back in the conference back in the day. They were staying 8 in a room. I have another interview with a gal who's talking about her experiences at that conference. That was back when these conferences apparently were fun. What had happened was that James Casbolt was one of the most manipulative people that was around. And, what he was you knew he would tell, you saw this guy, there's a guy that used to appear, he would appear on the Basis Project too, Ben something. And he would tell stories about James Casbolt. And, these guys are not self-aware, but he would say, he's like, James, me and James would be walking, and all of a sudden James would grab me, and he'd toss me to the ground. And I'd say, what happened? He's like, you didn't see that? And I'd be like, no, what? He's like, a vector, signal pass machine just came right at your head, man. It barely missed you. And he was like, oh, shit, really? And it was like clear that like James was like programming him and like training him and like fucking psyching him up and like, manipulating the guy. And it was clear when you heard Miles Johnson talk to James Casbolt and talk to these guys at this super soldier conference, like it was apparently a big deal. Like, because James Casbolt had broken one of the doors to the motel, like by doing this freak out maneuver where he said they had hulked out or whatever. He turned into one of his alter forms or whatever. And it was like the silliest thing. Like he had broken the door beyond repair. He had like broken the like one of those like keyhole, like, latch, those little like latch on a chain things. It was like the silliest thing, but whatever. Derple Hayes joins us. Hey, Derple Hayes, she looked better before the Botox and what else is going on there, but that's besides the point. I hate to say it. Look, my original notes contained a Rocky Dennis joke. And remember, James Casbolt that I'm talking about is the Lauren Pritchard Messiah. It is. Philip Blair. Sounds like the tricks Charles Manson used to do with people. Yo. Paranoia Magazine from fall 2003 reissue. I was going through my old stuff and I found this today. Philip Blair, and I read and I looked through and I said, is there anything interesting here? Remember, this is a reprint from fall of 2003, 20 years ago in the 20 Nostalgia Loop. Yo. Interview with David Icke appears on page 8, the reptilian agenda for the New World Order. But if we go down to 38, 8, 9, 10, 11, Adam Go Rightly writes an article called We All Live in a Yellow Submarine. When this video starts, 4 minutes and 25 seconds, intro to British Super Soldier Program, because they start talking. Miles Johnson starts talking about a DJ called Kenny Everett who used to hang out with the Beatles. We All Live in a Yellow Submarine, an article written about Adam Go Rightly. Let's go to it. I swear to God, this is crazy. We all live in the Yellow Submarine. The article is about the Manson family and the Beatles. Let me read to you a very interesting part that I was looking at. Oh, shit. The legendary Death Mock-Up Party was a prime example of the mounting weirdness that began to take hold during the Gresham Street period. They were all sitting around, stoned, in the middle of the living room one night, apparently postulating their own deaths, when Charlie, strategically positioned in the midst of the gathering, said, "Die." So they all lay down and pretended to die. Goodbye. Bo started screaming. Manson moved his fingers about in strange reptilian patterns, talking about the confusion in the air and how groovy it all was. Meanwhile, Brooks Poston had gone into a deep trance, and Charlie commanded him to die. Poston died in his own mind and stayed in this death trance for a total of 5 days. Remember the Max Spiers story. As he lay wasting away on the living room couch, the girls would periodically clean up after his naturally bodily functions. On the 5th day of Brooks' death, Charlie commanded that his very own ceremonial vest be placed beneath the ego-dead disciple as a sort of symbolic diaper. And with this one humble messianic act, Charlie was able to resurrect Brooks back to the world of the living, just like Jesus in the Bible awoke Lazarus. Charlie looked down upon Brooks and said, I command you to live again. With Charlie's commandment, Brooks's eyes opened, and slowly and painfully he rose to his feet. Saith Charlie then, now I accept you. Shoot, a 2023 nostalgia loop synth. Nice. Strange visions in the gold mine. Hey, intro, 4 minutes and 25 seconds. Intro to British Super Soldier Program because child experiences. He's asking her, how did you get involved in the British Super Soldier Program? ET abductions onto ships as a child. She went to the bases. She was rescued by pro-humanity ETs, and she was juggled between ET groups. And I wrote, new details, not in original testimonies. So right out the bat, she's telling a whole new story. There's all these bizarre, stupid tech issues that she has that are meaningless and unimportant. It basically just consists of basically Miles Johnson basically trying to make sure that she's like as big an image of her tatas as possible, I think. I'm joking. And, you know, the biggest deal is that anytime it sounds like she's going to start talking about anything conspiratorial, it's almost like Miles Johnson cuts her off. He mentions Michael Aquino. He mentions some place called Burnworthy Manor. Anyway, at 9 minutes and 22 seconds, Sara sounds like she's about to speak, but then Miles interrupts before talking about her childhood and actually says, you know, you don't have to talk about that if you're comfortable, if you don't want to talk about that now. And she goes, oh, maybe I'll go into that later. And it's like when she was about to say, what are you doing? You know, it's insane. And she switches to generic pyramid of power, like kind of Illuminati stuff. There are people, you know, whatever, David Icke stuff. De-evolution of spiritual man. Back in the day, we were much more powerful. We were in tune. We could cast, we could bring things, we could manifest and all these stuff. She remembers her life 2 billion years ago. The planets are all connected to the chakras. She came in with this knowledge. Well, she didn't have this knowledge in 2013 and 2014. So I don't know how she came in with this knowledge if she has it now, but she didn't have it then. Right? I don't understand. There's a shield around the earth. Atlantis, Lemuria are the same thing. The cataclysm that people remember as the cataclysm of Atlantis, really, that was a cataclysm that happened here, but also happened on Mars. That's why Mars is dead. That's why people remember that, but we're all remembering the same thing. So all of these people are kind of telling the same story, but they're all kind of telling a different story, so they all have their own little shtick. But then, folks, these stories cannot be said to ratify and back each other up. These stories are actually contradictory. If Miles Johnson is having one speaker on one day, this Sara DeRoy, who is saying that Satan is interacting with Enlil and Enki and doing these things, and Hitler did this during World War II. And then he's speaking to Sarah Adams, who's saying this whole thing in 2013 that's different than now. And both these things are contrary to what Mr. Roy is saying. Then if you're doing research and you're trying to present new information to people, this goes back to Coast AM. Even if you're interviewing people, you still say things like, well, that's not going to make sense to a lot of people who are familiar with the common mythology of super soldiers who think that, or what do you say to people who say that doesn't make sense in what we've been taught about this? Because you're not going to be able to tell me that Miles Johnson is just there saying, I'm just here to record the testimonials. I'm just here as a documentarian, because he's not. He does interact with his subjects. He does ask questions. And he does say in preface, I'm here to do this. There is an agenda. We are trying to save humanity. We're trying to do this. So if you're trying to get at the truth, if you're trying to discern what is truth and fiction, then if you're presented with two things that are contradictory to each other, you have to be trying to discern which one of these things is true and false. So are we going to debate this? Are we going to present their various pieces of evidence? And if there's no evidence to present on either side, then what are we even having a discussion with in the first place? But maybe that's not a conversation or a question that needs to be put to him. Maybe that's a question I need to put to myself. Because I'm the idiot that's actually circling back and spending close to an hour, and I haven't even gotten to half the notes. Scientists have recently proven that this invisible shield around the Earth exists. No, they have not. What invisible shield around the Earth exists? You mean the atmosphere? I mean, there's a lot of quote-unquote invisible shields that exist around the Earth. There's the atmosphere. There's various, levels of radiation belts and stuff, like, things like various, levels. There's, but if you're telling me that the scientists have recently proved that there's some invisible barrier around the Earth that proves that there's some sort of soul manifestation reincarnation circle or something else that you've referenced, no, Sarah, they have not. You're not. We don't trust you as any sort of access point to some scientific source that we're not privy to, my friend. And if you want to present some sort of scientific person, then who are you referencing? The Matrix movie mentions previous generations, and that's what they were referring to there, because they mentioned previous generations, like I guess when they were talking about I guess it's what she's referring to. I guess she's referring to when the architect says to Neo that they've had previous generations in the Matrix, and that's what she's saying they're referring to. But hold on, Mark Passio said that meant something else. I've got videos from people in Krishna consciousness movement who do 8-hour analysis of the Matrix movies from the point of view of the Bhagavad Gita that say that those things mean different things. So Numenera takes place 1 billion years in the future. Each world stretched across vast millennia of time. There have been 8 previous worlds. Each world stretched across vast millennia of time. Each played host to a race whose civilization rose to supremacy but eventually died or scattered, disappeared or transcended. During the time that each world flourished, those that ruled it spoke to the stars, re-engineered their physical bodies and mastered form and essence, all in their own unique ways. Each left behind remnants. People of the new world, the 9th world. That's where we're going, folks. Numenera from 2013. It's pretty cool. It's like, if you like Destiny, the video game, I don't know why no one who's covered this game, it's still around. They've gone through updates. I, of course, have the 2013 version because I am a time-traveling idiot. Oh, yeah. It's kind of the intro, but March, I don't know if this is like an intro. This is like kind of like we keep on going back and forth. I'm like living the Grateful Dead dream here now. At 22 viewers. Thank you. Numenera. Of course, I have the 2013 version, which is basically the same as the newer updated version. But I don't know why no one has spoken about this. This is basically a lot of it. It's kind of like Destiny, the game, the role-playing game. Without the loot. Well, actually with the loot, because of the ciphers in the Numenera. Anyway. We'll have to cover it another time. They probably sync up like Pink Floyd and the Wizard of Oz. Yes, and Mr. West. You know who on second watch through caught Gelatin's 1212? This guy. Thank you. I'm going to have to clip that part. Anyway, for those in the know. Anyway. Make sure I put this guy's side so we get stuff done. Anyway, scientists have, okay, here we go. Origin of fairies, angels. They came from the reconstruction from this fall. This is what it sounds like she's saying, that fairies, angels, and like ghosts and stuff came from the reconstruction from the fall after this. At 16 minutes and 30 seconds, during first creation, these beings fell from the spirit realm. What? Why? What? Why? What? And how? 21 minutes and 20 seconds. ET set. Now check this out. But okay, we can do this. Hold on. This is great. We'll do this. Let me stop sharing because I wanted to make sure we're sharing the audio. Okay, here we go. Hopefully I don't get too much feedback.
Is actually polar opposite. The ion. Okay, so ion means energy.
Okay, go hold on. This is great.
And
she's about to explain to us what the word pollution really means. She's one of these people like forget the etymology of words, like what the Webster's dictionary, what like linguists will tell you what words mean. She's one of these people. They call it the sole of the shoe, so they have you walking on the soles of your feet and the soles of your shoe. So you're walking all the time on your soles, wearing your soles out, teaching you that they can put your soul somewhere else on your body where you walk on it. They're training you with the words. That's not what the sole of your shoe is, not the same as the soul in your soul. Not that either of them, you know what I mean? And meanwhile, in Chinese, the word soul and soul mean different. You know what I mean? Idiots. These people don't understand that how dumb they are, how uneducated they are. She's going to tell us what the word pollution means, and she's going to say something fucking stupid.
We have to.
I want to give you $1. I used to hang out with Charlie Sheen stands all the time. And sometimes it gets rough because normally I should be, talking about ufology people, I shouldn't be feeling like, why am I looking at the sort of person that I never paid, I do not hang out, never got involved with traumatizing people that were previously traumatized that were involved. I don't believe that prostitute, I'm not saying that anyone's a prostitute, I'm saying whatever, but I'm not saying that she's a prostitute. I'm saying I've never been with a prostitute because I always knew, I'm not into that, but I'm also knew that there is no victimless crime my ass. There's no one who does that. So no one does that. I don't care. I don't think that's a victim. I think people are whatever. I used to hang out in situations and scenes where I'd have to constantly be like, I'm not interested. No, thank you. No, thank you, ma'am. No, that's cool. No, cool, bro. No, cool, bro. And when I say I hang out with Charlie Sheen stands, I used to hang out with no is not an answer for the she's being paid for. So literally no is not an answer for her. And I'll fucking break you in two. No is not an answer for you. And I will put too many drugs in you. And I will do this to you. And you're doing this and you're doing that. I'd be like, no. And I would stand my ground and it would be impossible. It would be insane. But this is the sort of situation. This is how these hoe bags would dress.
To channel the light in groups back to this.
And sometimes this is how they would talk. And this is a real heartbreak, is that sometimes literally this is how these girls would be like, you'd start talking tarot cards or whatever, and they'd be like, I like that. And you'd be like, oh God.
Creation, which will then which will lift it in frequency and heal that creation, which will reflect back into our creation right now on this planet. So this is like one of the big messages.
So nothing big then, nothing really heavy to do then.
Nothing to do.
So how do you propose that's done?
It is. It's not an easy task. So okay,
you
so
said
this
it
is
was
what
easy.
the ETs were showing me.
But that's the other thing, folks, right? Like this. Like here's the other thing, right? Humanity has what it takes. Source creator is behind us. And if the archons or the aliens or the grays ever get us, you just stand in your sovereignty and your truth and you say, in the name of source creator, I'm standing in my sovereignty, and you do not have the right to impede upon me, and you do not have the right to do these things to me. I know, Mark Toron, I apologize. Sometimes it happens. No, I gotta stop. Every once in a while, I gotta stop. So there you go. So anyway, it happens. It's like proactive triggering. It happens. So you slowing down. Anyway, here we go. I blame the Red Bull. I honestly, I don't normally drink these things. I gotta keep an eye on the time too. It's an hour and 5 minutes. Jesus Christ. There we go. He's not gonna save me. He's not gonna help me. But we're on. Oh, here we go. Slow down. Take a personal moment. Cool down. Woo! Got excited there. Hold on. You know what I mean? I apologize. Blame it on the loosh. I think it was an energetic attack, right? That's what you know what I mean? It's called taking one for the team. Anyway. Woo! Anyway, honestly, I blame the Red Bull. And the Percodan. I blame the Red Bull. The Percodan was a Krusty the Clown joke. That's what we call it on the street. Got Krusty's? Listen, folks. Where was she? She was saying something. She was about to say something. She's about to say no.
You're gonna love this one. So you know the word pollution, right?
Here we go. Yeah, we know the word pollution. You guys know the word pollution? She's going to tell us the etymology of the word pollution. And in case you're curious, my use of the word etymology is saying up the fact that I'm about to assassinate her use of the word pollution. Check this shit out.
Yeah.
We talked about this the other day, how they said it's got pole and ion, and then we're having
It's got pole and ion. Did you know that the word pollution has the word pole and ion in it? I didn't, because it doesn't.
a polar shift of the planet. We're like, why is the magnetic field flipping? Well, it's because the pollution is actually polar opposite. The ion. Okay, so ion means energy, pollution.
Ion does not mean energy.
So the ion, the energy, is spinning the polar opposite of the divine order it was meant. That's what pollution.
What? The pole is spinning the opposite of the divine order was meant. That's what pollution means. That's not what pollution means.
And if you go back to quantum physics, and also what I know from the ETs telling me in my own experiences, we can spin energy the divine way, and this is how we heal pollution. So the ETs told me they said
if we spin the energy the opposite
really
way, we'll
polluted,
heal the
and
pollution.
that's made it fall in frequency.
So here's what happens.
So everyone needs to gather together. They need to start to visualize just channeling this rainbow light.
She's still in my bed. Rainbow, go! Damn it! And you cannot channel rainbow light. You know why? Light, mon amour, you know, my friend, mon frere, my brother. Light is got all the colors in it. Rainbow is like bifurcated. How do you can't?
Into the skies and into the oceans, and this will start to spin the ions or the energy and the divine order rather than the polar opposite that they're spinning, that they should be spinning it.
That's not how it works.
That's what scientists.
Okay, I can't stop. Okay, so that's not how it works. That's not how it works, lady. Okay, but you're awesome. Okay, so check this out. Prostitution as I am. I see the pro. Yo, check this out. Do you guys remember? I'm trying to think. What movie am I thinking of? Was it Night Moves with Henry Winkler and who am I thinking? He played Batman? Michael Keaton? We say hello to Jason Albert. And there's at one point where I think it's they're trying to get the prostitutes to work out of the morgue that they are in. And he's trying to break down the word. Am I thinking of the right movie? And he's going, well, let's break down this word. He goes, pro, because you're professionals. Tit, well, that makes sense. Shun, I don't know. What is that? Anyway, E.T. said pollution, polar opposite, and ion reverse. But Sara, what about other languages? This would, first of all, this is not even true. Night Shift. Thank you. Am I thinking of the right movie? Dirty. Okay. First of all, it's not even true in English, but of course her incorrectness breaks further down when you consider other languages like Chinese or Japanese or Hebrew or Russian that's written in Cyrillic, where of course the word pollution would not behave in any way, shape, or form and interact with this word like polar opposite, or ion in any way, shape, or form. So thank you. And of course, she's getting this information from the ETs. And the ETs that are speaking to her, are they there at all? Is dirty work, Mr. West says, is dirty work Sheen and Estevez? No, that's Men at Work. Dirty work is Norm Macdonald and not Horatio Sands. It's Norm Macdonald and the guy that was on Howard Stern. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'm not even looking at the live chat because it's gonna kill me if I look at the live chat and I see it. Why that now it's running away. He's talking to me. He's making fun of me. He's going, "You idiot! You're as big a junkie as me, and you can't remember my name. You're looking at me. I'm dancing in front of you. I'm fat. I'm ugly. My nose doesn't look the same. Whose nose doesn't look the same anymore? The guy that used to be on Howard Stern always nodding out. And my name is A, B, C, D. Artie Lang! I can't believe I don't open my eyes and look at the fucking thing. Holy shit. It's names. I'm losing all the names. Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang. But the great thing about that movie that you mentioned that, and we're talking about this in context, because one of the great things in the bits in Dirty Work with Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang was, look at all these prostitutes. Oh my God. Oh, look at all these cars. Oh my God. In that one too. In all these cars, there's so many dead prostitutes. You're staring at my nose. "24 minutes and 40 seconds. How to summon back our energy." People go off on me for no reason, but it's not them. It's the bad guys. So when she started saying to herself, man, all these people are constantly going off on me and calling me on my shit and telling me things like you're stupid, or, you dress like a hoe, or, stop being slutty, or, leave Taj alone. Like, stop playing with him. You know what I mean? Leave that, like, you know what I mean? He should go off and have a family and you know what I mean? Like, piss or get off the pot, like, or whatever. And I realized, she says, it wasn't me. It's not them even. It's the, like, bad guys, like the archons behind them telling them things. I'm paraphrasing. I'm joking. But she does say that. She says that people go off on me for no reason, but it's not them. It's certainly not her. It's the bad guys. Apparently the solution is divine positive affirmations. No shit. She spoke to the ocean and it was crying because of the pollution. And the ocean was crying so much that she started crying. And then I started crying. And then, my landlord got upset, and called the cops. And then the cops started crying, you know what I mean? When I played them the tape, they couldn't believe that the ocean was so upset. And then we all gathered around. I said, well, before we take me to prison, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe we just like watch this Sara Adams video from the top and like, and it would just like spin our positive energy around this ocean. Just like take like took a moment to like think about Max Spiers and like, try and get this shit together. And like, just like, if we just like turned one eye on, you know what I mean? If we just got like, if we could just get like, if we just like visualize like two balls spinning, like two positive ions, bobbling in space, moving in the right direction, I just know something good could come out of it in the end. And I don't know. I just like to stick it back up there and see what happens. Anyway, it all worked out good in the end. The cops, we chiefed it out. Anyway. Woo! Anyway. If you take a look at the description box below, if this is doing anything for you, you can tip your waitresses. And I do have PayPal and a Patreon. I do. And you can also like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, here we go. 29 minutes and 15 seconds. Not an ash can and or just knowing about the conspiracies? What? Real symbolic deep stuff. Name drops Jordan Maxwell. Oh, it's not. I guess it's not just. It's something. It's you're not like awake if you just like think about Accenture or just know about the conspiracy stuff. I guess maybe she's about to talk about the real symbolic deep stuff. She name drops Jordan Maxwell. Basically implies that they were like friends, probably because they met once. 30 minutes and 10 seconds. She starts talking about Jesus, deep codes, don't take things literally, your body is a temple of God. She starts talking about cathedrals and organs, like the organs in the body. The organ in the cathedral is like the organ in the body. And she starts basically implying like just like the soul and the word soul means soul. She starts basically saying like that's why they put the organs in the cathedrals, because the organs are like the organs in your body. And just like if the organ is out of tune, your body has to be in tune. Kind of my translation. Some criticism of meditate. So she basically then says that like people meditate in silence. She goes, you shouldn't do that. She says that you shouldn't meditate in silence, that's not the way you should meditate. Rather, she says it's preferable to meditate while giving your body basically like instructions, like positive affirmations. So if you meditate in silence, that's not what she's telling people to do. When she meditates, she like tells her liver, do this. And I have no problem with guided meditation or self or, whatever. But a lot of people, do silent meditation and don't do meditation where you say things to yourself for specific reasons. So you're not attached to the results and you clear your mind and you're not directing energy at all. Anyway, it is what it is. Things don't affect me anymore. That's what she says, because of all the things that she's been through. I'm going to tell you things affect her so much. It's not even fucking funny. Anyway, 38 minutes and 30 seconds. She starts talking about Jesus and the Buddha. Enlightenment means to let the light in. I just want to point out the fact that the word enlightenment is an English word. It's a translation of things, and the word enlightenment, the thing that we translate as the word enlightenment, that word, that is often translated as enlightenment in the original Sanskrit and in Pali, that word can mean many different things. The word samsara, the word, moksha, it means many different, people translate it different ways. It really means liberation, it really means this, it really means a lot of different things. Began as a serious language, it's a serious language problem. She then starts talking about the throne, like the throne of God. And then she says the word throne becomes the word tone if you remove the R. Like going back to that organ sound, like the tone, like tones are important. She goes like the throne of God. She goes, the word throne becomes the word tone if you remove the letter R. And that's just not true. That's not. The word throne, if you remove the word R, the letter R becomes thone, right? Or thone. You know what I mean? It just becomes like nothing. It's just stupid. It's like whatever you're talking about. But the fact of the matter that she could say this to Miles Johnson is predicated on one fact and one thing only. And that's because she looks like Cooch. If I got up there and said this thing to him, he'd be talking back to me like nobody's business. You could see him interview dudes. And he would, this wouldn't fly if she wasn't a girl. It wouldn't fly at all. She's getting a total pass. It's ridiculous. 42 minutes and 40 seconds. Do I have to become a billionaire? She asks the universe. And then she says, I've already made millions of dollars. Might as well go to that timestamp. But here's the thing. She's going to say that. When I interviewed Taj, he basically said she inherited millions of dollars from an aunt. That's not making it, but even if whatever she did, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. She says that, but it is what it is. And at the time that he said that, I said, "Did she have an accountant?" He was like, "I'm her accountant." I was like, "She needs an actual accountant. She made that. She has that much money."
They had the ability to affect all the elements. That's how leaders were elected back then.
She would know.
And the leaders now, if they don't change, they will lose their status soon, because more and more people who have ascended into this divine frequency, such as I, and this is a call.
This is the thing, that how long have people been saying this? She's going to say that the leaders are going to be taken out of power, and they're going to find themselves in a day of reckoning, because more and more, more and more people are waking up every day. There's a grand, shift that's happening. Pretty soon we're going to be at the tipping point where too many people are woken up now because of the internet. All these people spreading the word. All this information is out there now. These leaders are not going to be able to keep the lid on anymore. We're post 2016. These guys have had their time to say, now we're going to break through. Now look at the vertices on the Q protocol and all that stuff. Game over. It's the same old song and dance.
All for that. The more of us that bring in that light every single day and cultivate it.
There's not more people bringing in the love and light. Meanwhile, Basis Project, Love and Light, Basis Project, Project Camelot, you guys aren't love and light. You guys are borderline fascists. You guys are constantly talking about war and hatred, and people are getting killed and people are being taken out, and these conspiracies and all this stuff, and the QAnon support that you guys were helping shill. You guys aren't love and light. You guys are anything but. David Icke is not love and light. David Icke is like a fire and brimstone preacher, talking about people are going to go burn like this, people are going to get reincarnated over here, and it's going to soul traps and all this stuff. It's absolute negative thinking. It's absolute negativity out the wazoo. There's no love and light over here. You guys are the ones constantly saying all the New Agers want to always be positive ETs. It's not, but now she's going to say that all the positive ETs are bringing her forward in this, that, and the other thing. Okay. I guess we're going to go with that angle now. Let's see how Bases adopts it. Considering that the other person that he's trying to push is that Sandra DeRoy, who's, you know, Hitler's a wonderful guy.
That's going to spread.
Well,
And
right
as
now
that
there's
spreads,
many
that's gonna
countries
shift.
are rebelling.
Yeah, many countries are rebelling. Yeah.
But
Yes.
one thing about rebelling and running about along the streets with placards is you're still expecting, you know, the people you're rebelling against to do the job for them. How do you empower those people to do something positive without just running down the streets with placards? I mean, this is happening in lots of different countries.
Some months ago, I said, because I being deeply spiritual, I said,
being deeply spiritual, I said, who deeply spiritual ever predicated a statement with, well, you know, as a deeply spiritual person, I said. I think that it is anathema to being a deeply spiritual person to ever say the phrase, I'm a deeply spiritual person, right? You may say things like unquestioning, well, I'm spiritual but not religious, or, you know, I consider myself very spiritual or whatever, but you would never be like, well, as a deeply spiritual person, you would, that is the calling card of the schmudo. Mark Tarana, wasn't Miles Johnson facing some serious charges? We don't know what happened with that, but remember, folks, in the modern jurisprudence system in America, in Great Britain, in any system where a person can be bailed out while they're awaiting trial, a person can be out and about, living their lives, living an entire life for years before, yeah, yes, sir, your number came up. We're ready for you. Ready for me? Yeah, we're ready for your trial. Ready for my trial? Yep, that's right. You were out on bail until the time of your trial. And now we're ready to put you on trial. And then a couple of weeks later, whatever happened to that guy? Oh, went away for how many years? For what? Holy shit! No doubt. So we have no idea. Unless someone comes up with a public record saying these charges have been dropped or this charge, I don't know what the charges were. I remember what the charges were. I remember what the allegations were. I remember someone, you know, it is what it is. But we can't draw any conclusions. We cannot draw any conclusions. Well, sometimes in context it makes sense. Sometimes in context it makes sense. Full player.
I was in meditation and I said to this divine force that flows through me, I said, what do I need to
do? This divine force that flows through me. Jesus
Christ. Do I need to become a billionaire? I've already, you know, made millions of dollars.
Oh God. I mean, you're just this gal. I mean, when karma comes, I am never going to hang around Sara Adams because I don't want to be there when the lightning strikes. When karma gets this gal, I don't want to be there. Hysterical.
What do I need to do? Do I need to become more well-known? I've reached millions of people already.
You've reached millions of people already. Yep.
What do I need to do? Because I love humanity so much. And when you're connected to this force, by the way, and it's flowing through you, you're going to feel empathy and compassion for everybody out there, the entire planet. And this force replied and said, no, you don't need to do that. You just need to keep bringing in the light. And as you bring in the light and you encourage others to bring in that light, that's going to lift the frequency of the planet. And that's what true liberty is. And then I was shown the Statue of Liberty, how she holds the light, the flame above herself. And the Statue of Liberty was actually created. She was inspired. The man who created her, he based her off of Isis in Egypt.
Which is very close to you. You've got a tattoo saying ISIS.
Yeah.
Everybody loves heavy metal. Listen now, so, but that's interesting because of course everybody knows that the Eiffel Tower is super. I mean, the Eiffel Tower. The Statue of Liberty is super awesome, and the guy that brought the Statue of Liberty is super awesome. And there are absolutely no conspiracy theories involving the Statue of Liberty. And there are absolutely no conspiracy theories involving the Statue of Liberty, the goddess Isis, and the Freemasons. Oh, actually, there is. Who was that other guy? He wasn't Alex Jones. He was like the skinnier guy, more high strung, Mark something. David Bucking. I kind of want to donate to her in hopes that she'll notice me. That's how it starts. That's how it starts. No, not Owen, not Mr. West, someone else. I'm thinking he was featured on he was on TV once. When remember that show was kind of a spin-off of Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura, where it was like a whole bunch of people. There was like three. It was like two guys and a girl, and they were going around in an SUV, and they were like trying to investigate like conspiracies. And they met him outside. Not Mark Passio. Thanks, Kara Black. Nice. Thank you for participating in the live chat. Not Mark Passio. Almost. God. He was pretty big for a while. He must have been taken off of YouTube. He was really big for a while, though. I know on YouTube, and he was like almost like neck and neck with Alex Jones in popularity in these conspiracy theory circles. Anyway, so there you go. She, it is what it is. I feel bad because I keep on making fun of her and making fun of the appearance and the lookism, which I know is not a great look. 55 minutes for either me or her. Big TV show coming up. I'm sure she's got a big TV show coming up. I guarantee she's got what it takes. Yeah, okay, whatever. 55 minutes, Saturn equals Satan, whatever. They want you to think Satan is evil. Is he not? Okay. Channel light to the planets to heal our own chakras. Okay. Jupiter Rising is mentioned. Shitty movie. Egyptian gods were actually the priests and priestesses of the planets, and that's where they got their powers from. Okay. Aphrodite is the same as Mary Magdalene. Okay. 1 hour and 2 minutes. Teases a Max episode. This is the intro. Underground bases. The Green Lantern movie is referenced. Okay. E.T.'s told her, you helped us feel the love. This gal is something else. They never abducted me, but I saw things at the bases. Completely different story than it was in 2013. Meanwhile, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, as she was making multiple appearances over the Basis Project with Max Spiers. Remember, she was constantly telling us about negative experiences with the Super Soldier program and the Secret Space program and all that jazz. Okay? So when she's going back now and saying that she was never abducted, but she only saw things at the bases, and they never telling us all this new stuff. This is a real problem. It's a real problem, I think. The aliens told her that they had never encountered someone like her. Okay, so she's better than Alex Collier? She's better than Valiant Thor? She's better than Sadhana, Jesus? She's better than Gandhi. She's better than anyone. They've never encountered anyone like her. They told her that she had information in her system before they came into creation. And I'm telling you, honey, I love you. You're great. You are better looking than me. Okay? But if you and I get together, the only thing that we're going to make happen is my brain and your body making something happen. Because you are not an improviser. And you are not a creative storyteller. And you are not an author. And I'm going to call it as I see it. You're not a woman of great intellect. And you're a bullshitter. And I think, you know what I mean? I think you take too much money for your so-called spiritual services, and I think that's a fucking scam. I think if you were taking, $25 for energy healings or Reiki work or tarot cards or whatever, or $50 for a session, whatever, it would be one thing. But charging the amount of money that you charge, it is what it is. But then again, that's my opinion, and who cares about my opinion? And who knows if this video is good enough to stay up, or if on review I say, the video went too south this way, too south this way, we gotta go. Doesn't work. And the lesson is, I would have been better off just covering Numenera, because what did we do here other than I could have just come up here and said, really accomplished all I needed to accomplish by saying, hey, folks, guess what? Before anyone else tells you, I'm telling you that Sara R. Adams returned to the Basis Project, and she's saying contrary information to what she said before. And guess what? People are still full of shit, and they're still going to believe her. And I don't think she looks so good. Mark Dice. Thank you, Mark Tarana. Thank you. Mark Dice. Thank you. Mr. West, she's been at this for a while. She's been at this since like 2015, at least 2014. It is what it is, baby. Stop sharing. Take a load off, Sarah. But here's the other thing. And if I come off like, particularly like, jerky to her, I gotta tell you something. She's jerked my chin, and she's wasted my time on a number of occasions. Personally, honestly. When she was stupid enough to think that I was just going to go on her show and talk crap about another, debunker that she didn't like, she was dying to have me on her show. When she realized that I was actually going to, if I went on her show, I would actually talk back and speak and ask her questions and have things to say to her too, then all of a sudden she was sick and she'd have to get back to me and we'd have to rebook and whatever. And all of a sudden I never heard from her again. And she's one of these that can't do it. She can't even answer an email herself, can't answer her phone herself. Everything has to be through this young man, Taj, who, it's sad. It is terrible. It is terrible. It is terrible. I interviewed him, another person interviewed him, and came away with the same conclusion, which is this is like, if she's not running a mind control cult with multiple people, there's a mind control cult of one. Everybody know, you know what I mean? He's desperately in love with her. She knows it and knows that he'll do whatever she wants him to do. And that's not what a very spiritual person does. When a very spiritual person evaluates and sees that there's a person desperately in love with them that will follow them around, sacrificing their own life, and any hope of having a truly emotionally satisfying relationship with another person who gives as well as receives their energy. A deeply spiritual person doesn't just sit there, unless they're like a guru, like who's actually sitting there going, no, like I know these monks around me, they're foregoing a life of, with they're foregoing the life of a householder, they're foregoing the life of a businessman, they're foregoing the life of a fame seeker. They are throwing their lives away to meditate with me in this temple. That's not the situation we're describing, right? But, folks, the temptation is to say that we're talking about something because it's broadcast on YouTube, that we're talking about something that is of public interest. But I fear that it's just gossip, and that I really would have been better served. And I wouldn't be feeling like I had, talked, bad about another human being, if I had just, honored my intentions, which was just to say, I really wanted to speak on my other channel about, this, about this role-playing game, Numenera. But I did not do that, and instead came here because I said to myself, well, I got this, I get, the Sara thing, and it's like, and I'll tell you what it was. It was, if I don't come and say that, Sara Adams appeared on the Basis Project, someone else is going to say it first. So that's some sort of fucking scoop or whatever. Dumb. And every time I come back to this BS, it's the same BS. So, yeah, so it's like this. It's like, so the justification that I used to give myself is that it's going to be like Teal Swan. So I cover it like this. So it's because it's going to be like Teal Swan. Do you think we'll get an SRA doc like the Teal Swan one? I don't know. I don't know if we will. I don't know if they'll get big, but Teal Swan is another one that had the ridiculous backstory that got whitewashed and got her the ridiculous aspects of her backstory forgotten until, the documentary. I don't think that we're going to get that with Sara Adams because, look, I mean, the fact of the matter is this, is that, look, I do think these things come in cycles, and I do think these things come in phases. And I think we may have seen this phase. I think we may have seen, the round of the interest in the conspiracy things. And I think that, this phase that we're going through with this, this Biden lull post-Trump, I don't know. I don't want to read too many things into it. I may be losing too much energy. I think also in the shock of the realization that I'm really not proud of this video. I'm especially not proud of the way that I spoke of the woman, and I really don't. It is what it is. Here we go. Prag Magic. They ain't worth your time, man. Pay no, never mind. You get a heap of generally positive work together. Yeah, you know what it is? Jewel Lyhart, stick to the material content and be kind, many. Maybe the thing that's tough, Jewel, is this: is that what the problem is this? I start with the best of intentions. There is something about covering this material that engenders aggravation. It's infuriating to engage with buffoonery and to watch liars profit off lies. And when you then end up going into the process, and then all of a sudden, the negativity comes out, or the objectification within you comes out, or you start saying things, and then things get triggered, you do other things, then, it creates a feedback loop. And I'm not trying to go into, a cycle of negativity or whatever. We'll let it be what it is. Because here's what it is. We'll let it be what it is. We'll let it stay. And within X amount of time, I will either, take it down, or I'll leave it up. And it'll just be, I'll have achieved the goal of people saying that, Sara returned to the Basis Project. That is what it is. You know what I mean? And we had, little aspects like, We had the thing with, being able to go through the synchronicities with that magazine article from 2003. And it is what it is. And I'll clear my head, and I will cover Numenera, or start to begin the process of covering Numenera at some other point in time. And we lay it out to play it out. Ooh, here we go. Pride Magic, Keats lays out the gematria for us. Sara R. Adams. Well, her name is spelled, oh yeah, Sara R. Adams. 60 equals 65 equals God of War, blind lying, ALW gematria. Now remember, folks, That's the ALW gematria speaking, not me or Keats. Certainly not me. I'm numerically illiterate. I have gematria. Meanwhile, David Bucky, when this material lies to you so much to your face, it's hard to be kind. There you go, Jewel Lightheart. I hear you. No, it is what it is. And we'll get through it. And oftentimes what will happen is it'll be I'll be harder on it than I need to be. Like I'll say to myself, oh, that's a video that I gotta take down. It's a video I gotta take down. And then I'll play it back and I'll be like, I don't need to take it down. You know what I mean? Or it is what it is. So we have 2 tarot card decks that we're going to be pulling from. I've got a deck from 1998 on the 25-year nostalgia loop, the Cosmic Tarot. And we also have the Egyptian Tarot from 2003. Oh my. We got this card last time from this deck, I believe. And that is Temperance. And this is so interesting to me that we get this in this context, because this is a card of alchemy, and this is a card of a slow, methodical process of purification, of sifting and making pure, which is impure. And also finding proper balances of competing elements, but finding them and making them, working them in the system. So that's 25 years ago in 1998, and then 20 years, 5 years after that, 2003. The Ace of Discs. So we have a very water-based card in Temperance, and we have a very earth-based, the essence of the root of the suit of earth. This materiality. Okay? So we have almost all the elements at play here. So we have this finding of balance in that which is easy to work. And then we have this manifestation of things in the solid and in the real. And what I see for me and for us in this is that what I may not be understanding is that we had this conflicting interest, like make this video or make that video, and we make this video, and I may be dissatisfied in what I experienced, but even in that dissatisfaction, I find that which needs to be removed. And when we find that which needs to be removed, we may find that when it's removed, that thing is not in and of itself a bad thing. We may remove the impurity from the water and find gold. In the water, it's an impurity that makes the water undrinkable. But when the earth is sifted from the water, and then when the earth is further sifted through, we find that which is valuable in the earth and that which is valuable in the water pure. But we have to get there. It's a journey and it's work. And it's not always pretty. And it's not always flattering. And it's so interesting. And I will admit, whatever criticisms I may have made about the appearance of Sara R. Adams, I don't think anyone could argue that at any point in her presentation does she look as ugly as I do at the worst aspects of this one when I'm talking about her in my most I think that that's a fair assessment. You know what I mean? You know, it is what it is. You know, keep it above the waistline, sunshine. There's no reason to be, to be, dragging a gal's face, but it's fair enough to say, hey, do we need to be sexy spiritual? It is what it is. And what's wrong with that? Anyway, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Fuck me. It is what it is. I probably should have just covered Numenera. Hey, listen, why repeat the process? We've discovered it. We're getting there, slowly but surely. I think it doesn't work. It is what it is. Folks, I need help. I'm looking for people in the local area to me, somewhat near New York City, to help me, to collaborate with me. I'm good, apparently, I think, at making video content, but I'm not great at running, establishing, or maintaining a YouTube channel or editing content. So I'm looking for someone who has those skills who'll be interested in working with me. I think I'm also interested in starting to do tarot card readings for people. So if anyone's interested in booking a tarot card reading with me, you can go ahead and send me an email at c.w.chanter@gmail.com, and we can start that conversation as well, because I need your money. We all got to make a living. It is what it is, and that's life. So I love you. I love you. I love you. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you got something out of everything that's going on in your world, and keep on keeping on. There you go. And we'll keep on going. Anything you want. Hey, listen, baby, you know what I mean? Like, you nothing. You know what I mean? But I can't say that out loud, because then people will be like, oh, he's got nothing. What about me? Listen, I like this, whatever the standard going rate is, like some standard going rate, some cheap ass rate, like nothing expensive. I don't know, quote me a rate, whatever. We'll talk. I'm talking like, you know what I mean? Like $20-$25, you know what I mean? Like cheapy. And like, you know what I mean? Sliding scale for like people who are like, dirt ass poor. You know what I mean? Trying to stay out of trouble. Anyway, better days. I love you. Keep my mind out of the gutter. I gotta stop messing with the Miles Johnsons of the world. I gotta stay out of the gutter. Thank you, baby. Spread the word. Tell people, if anyone is interested and thinks that I knew what I was doing when I came to tarot card readings, you could spread the word and tell people, honestly, because we gotta get to work. What is tarot euphemism for? Sucking my tongue, Your Holiness. You can't blame me. I'm senile. I always joke with the boys. If you don't like my jokes with the boys, it's my jokes with the girls. Too soon? Catch you next lifetime. It'll be funnier then. Man, know your audience. Know a audience. Know someone. Moon River, my huckleberry friend. Moon River and Shmi.